Well, hello there, and welcome back to the Disability Law Show. Good to have you along for the week. John Scholes here, Sivan Tumarkin there as well, disabilityrights.ca. Reach out to Sivan anytime. We always start the show with contact because you want to reach out, have that phone call. Free consultations, by the way. First, I'll give you that phone number, 1-855-821-5900, help@disabilityrights.ca. We'll give you some more contact and websites throughout the half hour, but I don't want to throw everything at you at once. We always have a main topic as well every show over the course of the half hour. This week it is Guide to Heart Conditions and Long-Term Disability. That's in just a bit. We'll get to some emails, possibly some phone calls from one of our radio shows. So we got an action-packed and a full half hour, Sivan, but we always start off with a week that was our case of the day, something you want to get warmed up with, pal. What do you got this week?
John, let me start off with a friend of mine that you and I have talked about before on the show and off the show. Yeah, he's on long-term disability. He's been suffering for many years from a heart condition and has psychological issues. His mother had passed away from cancer not too long ago. And so he has been on long-term disability for just over a year. I'd say about a year and a few months. And he recently got a phone call from his adjuster, from his case manager at the insurance company saying, well, you know, you've been getting these treatments from the psychologist, but, you know, we're thinking about maybe sending you to our own psychologist for treatments to supplement the ones that your psychologist is giving you. Oh, and by the way, you're going to be approaching the 2-year mark in about 8-9 months. And, you know, we really want to try and get you ready to go back to work, if not your job, then any other job. And so she's talking and talking. And at some point he says, whoa, wait a second. You know, you're making me really, really anxious now, right? I'm still feeling really, really depressed, anxious. I really have all these issues. I'm working them through with my doctor, with my cardiologist, with my psychologist. And all you're doing right now by throwing all this at me is you're creating a situation where I'm shutting down. Now, I'm describing that. Of course, he was a little bit more colorful because he was really getting anxious. And at some point, the adjuster noticed that and ended the phone call very quickly. And so he called me right after asking, what should I do? And he wanted to understand what happened. And I explained to him that this is something that unfortunately happens quite often. If you are on long-term disability, and you've been accepted for long-term disability, so the insurance company agrees that you are unable to work because of an illness or an injury or a combination of those, and your doctors are supporting you being off work, at some point, either at the 1-year mark or 1.5 or close to the 2-year mark, the insurance company, your case manager, will start making some movements. They will start asking you questions. They'll start insinuating that maybe we should start looking at getting you back to work, to a different kind of job if you can't go back to your own occupation. And the reason they're doing that is because that 2-year mark is that line where the qualification for getting long-term disability changes. So for the first 2 years to get long-term disability, you have to show with the help of your doctors that you cannot perform the essential tasks of your own occupation, your own job. Beyond that 2-year mark, the test changes, the qualification changes. Now you have to demonstrate that you can't do any occupation, any job for which you are suited for by training, education, or experience. That is the opportunity that the insurance company has and tries to seize on to stop your benefits, to cut you off. But the reality is, John, just like with my friend, many people out there, they're not in a position to go back to any kind of job at that point. They're still struggling. They're still trying to get treatments. Sometimes they can. Sometimes, I'm not going to, you know, paint everyone with the same brush. Sometimes people are able to go back to a different job. But in many instances, when I get those phone calls, like my friend, people are very anxious because they know they can't work, the doctors know they can't work, and the insurance company is starting to tell them, we're going to have to start talking about stopping your benefits in the next few months. Well, if that happens, as soon as that happens, as soon as they start talking to you about this, as soon as your spidey sense, you know, gets the idea that they're trying to figure out how to stop your benefits, you call us immediately, you email us. Why? Because we can go through your case with you at no cost. We can explain to you your options. We can answer all your questions. We can make sure that you are informed, empowered, and understand what the insurance company has up its sleeve, why they want to do what they're doing, how to fight against that if you're not ready to go back to work. And so, of course, with my friend, I said to him, look, you got to do 3 things right now off the bat after this phone call. Number 1, email the adjuster and explain to her that this call created a ton of stress for you, that you feel you've regressed, because that's what he felt, right? Given kind of what she said to him, he felt really, really bad. He felt unmotivated. He just felt really, really poorly. Number two, make sure that you continue doing all the treatments that your doctors are telling you to do. Your family doctor, your cardiologist, your psychologist, whoever's treating you, follow their treatments to the T. And number three, and this is absolutely critical, make sure that you are in constant communication with your doctors so that when the time comes and the insurance company says to you, we're going to stop your benefits in 1 month, in 2 months, in 5 months, we think you can do something else, make sure that you're on the same page with your doctors, because we'll need your doctor's support to tell the insurance company, no, you still need to be off for the foreseeable future to get better. Again, the idea here is not to get people to get LTD forever, John. Mm-hmm. It's to make sure that people have the time and the space that they need to get healthier, to be able to go back to work without crashing down, which is oftentimes what happens when prematurely you're pushed to go back to work. So this is something we see quite often, but again, it's that 2-year mark. But it doesn't mean that at the 2-year mark they contact you. They start the process of contacting you and starting to probe as to whether or not you can do some other job or whether you can go to one of their doctors early on, because they want you to get prepared for it so that it's not a shock to you, so that you don't resist, right? So understand that if you have any questions, any concerns about what the adjuster is doing, you give us a call, you contact us. It doesn't cost anything to speak to me or a member of my team to get the information you need to understand what's happening, number one, and number two, how you can make sure that the insurance company doesn't cross any lines and you continue getting the benefits that you're owed.
It's probably a good idea, those 3 things you mentioned, post phone call right away, back those up with an email as well.
Absolutely.
So it's not a he said, she said type of thing, right?
100%. That's very, very important. And people say to me, well, what if the adjuster doesn't respond to the email? Well, I don't care if they respond. I care that you have communicated to the adjuster via email shortly after the conversation that conversation really upset you, that your intention is to try and continue getting better, that you're going to continue getting the treatments you prescribed. You don't want to indicate to the insurance company that your intention is to stay on LTD forever. That's not the purpose of LTD. That's not the purpose of this exercise. The purpose is to give you that safety net, that time that you need to work with your doctors to get back. But yes, you should, I think, communicate to the adjuster that this conversation happened. Here's what was said. Here's what I told you, adjuster. And make sure that we have a record of that, because I'll tell you, John, down the road, if we have to fight them, if we don't have a record of what was said, even if it's coming from the individual, not the adjuster, it's a he said, she said.
If they don't respond, well, then I guess they agree.
Exactly.
You have nothing to lose in that regard. I find the description from your friend interesting, where the insurance company says, well, we'd like to get our doctor involved to help you along a little bit. It's like the velvet hammer. They really want to get their doctor on the case because they want to get you off claim as soon as they can. Right?
They want you to see their doctors. They want you to go to their clinics. Yep. They want you to be seen by their specialists, exactly for the reason you've mentioned. Yeah. Now, John, I guarantee you there's going to be adjusters here, people from the insurance company who are probably swearing at a TV set as I'm talking. But listen, I'm not just talking as a lawyer who helps individuals who are disabled get the benefits that they're entitled to. I'm talking as somebody who used to work for insurance companies. So don't kid me around. I mean, insurance companies know what they're doing. If they're asking you to go be seen by one of their doctors or clinics, and they're telling you the name of the doctor or the name of the clinic, there is a reason they picked that doctor in that clinic. There is a reason. Now, I'm not saying that these doctors, these clinics are bad. I'm just saying that I would be very, very hesitant to go and get treatments from the people that the insurance company is insisting that I go to. Yeah. Because I'm thinking, why are they simply not telling me to go get treatments? Why are they telling me to go to this specific individual or this specific clinics? And I've had enough experience with individuals who have gone to these clinics and doctors prescribed by the insurance company, only to down the road get that doctor or that clinic, tell the insurance company, oh, we think that Joe is now ready to go back to work, even though Joe is saying, no, I'm not. But these are the clinics and the doctors the insurance company got you to go to.
Well, it's like you get your car damaged. Why do I have to go to that body shop?
Correct.
I want to go to this body shop.
Correct.
I'll go to our body shop, right?
And it doesn't mean that body shop is bad.
Of course not. Right.
But there's a relationship, obviously, between that body shop and the insurance company, and that was what I'm questioning. Right. And I'm questioning it not as a lawyer helping people who are disabled, but as somebody who worked for these insurance companies. Yeah. I used to recommend to insurance companies which doctors to use for assessments. And who would I pick when I recommended? The doctors that I believe would give the insurance company the best reports, favoring the insurance companies. Oh. That's how the game works. Yeah. So that's why I'm telling you, be very careful going to these doctors. Now, if your insurance policy gives the insurance company the power or the right to send you to those clinics and doctors, it's a different story. Then it's a contractual thing.
Right.
But rarely do I see that in policies. Rarely do I see a provision in a contract of insurance that says you must go to the specific doctor or clinic that the insurance company wants to send you to. Typically, what these contracts say is you must get reasonable treatments. You must undergo, and that makes sense.
Nothing wrong with that.
But it doesn't mean it has to be somebody the insurance company is sending you to.
Got it. PocketDisabilityLawyer.ca. Break that down for me.
So, John, that is a website that we've created a long time ago, and it's been used tons across the country. It is it's an anonymous website. It allows people to get answers to their questions about short-term and long-term disability. You know, a lot of people, I tell them, call me, email me, but they're shy. For whatever reason, they don't want to, or at least they want to Google their questions first. I do that, you do that when it comes to almost anything. The problem with Googling these things, these kinds of questions, to long-term disability, short-term disability, is that you may get incorrect information. You may get the website from down south, from the States, different kinds of laws. You may even get information from other law offices in Ontario, in BC, in Alberta, where we operate across this country. But these lawyers may not necessarily have the most updated information on their websites. Well, we created this website, this particular online tool, PocketDisabilityLawyer.ca, to allow people to get quick, accurate answers to their questions, their most pressing questions, and it's free, it's anonymous. And if afterwards, after you get those answers, you want to get in touch with us, again for free, by all means, click a button and you'll get to us. But it's a website that gives people a starting point, John, of getting their answers.
Another way of correspondence to reach out to Sivan and his team is simple. It's email help@disabilityrights.ca. Let's get to the first email for today. Sivan goes like this. Vivian writes in, says, while on short-term disability recovering from surgery, my son tragically passed away and I developed severe depression. Despite my doctor's strong recommendation that I wasn't ready to return to work, my application for LTD was denied, with the insurer claiming I should be able to work. What do you think about that?
Well, I'll tell you, this is one of those tragic circumstances, and I see those time and time again, where the insurance company, in my mind, is so unfair, acting in such a high-handed manner. And you know, a lot of times when I get these denials, I shake my head and I think, who on the other side, who on the insurance side thought it was a good idea to tell a grieving mother, you know, that somehow she doesn't, you know, she's not disabled enough given what's happened here. It's just, it makes no sense. But and I've seen different types of scenarios, some like this, some others. Look, ultimately, if you are unable to work because of a psychological condition, a physical condition, an illness, an injury, it doesn't matter what it is. If you're unable to work and your doctors, whoever's treating you, be it a family doctor, a specialist, psychologist, psychiatrist, I don't care who, physiatrist, if they're saying, look, this person, this poor woman needs to be off work for the following few months, few years, whatever they say, the insurance company must accept it. So people say, well, but they haven't. What's the option? Well, the option is for us to represent her and go after this insurance company for everything they owe her, for aggravated damages, for punitive damages. This is so disgusting how they've treated her. And again, listen, in some instances, people contact me. I say, okay, listen, I'll look at the medical documents, and sometimes I see the insurance company's point of view, but more often than not, especially if you have a scenario like this that's so clear-cut, obviously she is in tremendous distress, there is absolutely no reason why the insurance company denied her claim. And I'll tell you, this is one of those cases where I think if we get involved now, they'll reverse their position lightning speed, because they're playing the odds that she'll simply walk away, that she's not in the headspace to deal with this situation. And unfortunately, they're right in many, many cases, which is why we tell people, look, if we are representing you, we are the ones dealing with the insurance company, you can just focus on your own health, on your mental health and your physical health. You can just focus on yourself, deal with the doctors, do the treatments, let us deal with the insurance company. This is one of those straightforward cases, John, where I think we can resolve it fairly quickly for her.
We have lots more to go. We'll take a short break and get right back into it. Guide to heart conditions and LTD, long-term disability, on the other side of the break. In the meantime, again, free consultations, right? 1-855-821-5900, help@disabilityrights.ca. Lots more. The Disability Law Show is just ahead. Stay with us.
People think you have to sign back a severance offer by a deadline. EmploymentLawyer.ca says that is a myth. Deadlines are used as a pressure tactic. Make sure the offer is fair before you sign. Always check with the employment lawyer first at EmploymentLawyer.ca. Can insurance companies deny long-term disability claims for mental illness?
When you're suffering from a mental health disability, insurance companies just don't understand. but we do.
They can absolutely not force you back to work. If your doctors say you are not ready and you know you're not ready, they cannot make you go back to work.
If you have a mental health disability and your claim is denied, don't give up. Give us a call and let us fight for you.
Go to disabilityrights.ca. Discover your rights, fight back, and get what you're owed. People think you aren't owed severance pay if you are fired for a reason. Employmentlawyer.ca says that is a myth. Most for-cause terminations are false, and you are still owed full severance. Always check with the employment lawyer first at employmentlawyer.ca.
All right, welcome back to the Disability Law Show. Thank you for joining us this half hour. I'm John Scholes, your host, and our lawyer, of course, Sivan Tumarkin. Want to reach out anytime. Phone call, free consultation. Just pick up a phone because it's often a personal matter, so you want to call Sivan and his team with no obligation for sure. 1-855-821-5900. Help at disabilityrights.ca. Always have a main topic every show, and for this week it is Guide to Heart Conditions and LTD, long-term disability. Sivan, let's get into this. Point number one, heart conditions like heart disease and arrhythmia can prevent you from performing even sedentary work. What do you think?
I wish, John, that my brother was here.
Yeah, right.
In fact, that he's a cardiologist, and I've had many discussions with him, family discussions about just generally his experience, and the reality is that people don't understand how much your heart really impacts your ability to work. You can be fatigued, you can have issues that stem from the fatigue, sleep issues, concentration issues. It really is a roller coaster if you're having heart problems, and sometimes you don't even know you have them. They get diagnosed late. So the reality is that even with sedentary work, even if you are at the computer all day, if you have heart issues, and people who have heart issues will know this, that can really interfere with your ability to carry out your daily tasks. Again, depending on the kind of job you have. And I think a lot of times when insurance companies deny these kinds of claims, these disability claims, when somebody has a sedentary job, they take the position, well, it's a sedentary job. You're by your desk. You don't have to really try really hard. Why does the heart have anything to do with this? You're not on your feet the whole day. You're not carrying, 100 tons of weight every day. But that's not the way it works. The way it works is we got to look holistically at the individual. We got to look at the impact, the symptoms that derive from the condition that you have. And right now we're talking about heart conditions, but it can be other types of conditions, obviously. Again, talking more generally, insurance companies often conflate this idea that if it's sedentary, you must therefore be able to do it unless you're paraplegic, unless you're brain dead. That's not the case. As long as you have symptoms, and in this case, from a heart condition that prevents you from doing the essential tasks of your occupation, your insurance company should be paying you long-term disability benefits.
Your second point kind of speaks to due diligence, and that is consistent treatment and monitoring by doctors and specialists is crucial for a successful claim, right?
It is. And more generally, the point that we always make to people is you have an obligation by law to try and get better, to mitigate. You can't simply say, I have a condition and I'm not going to treat it. If you've been diagnosed with a condition, a heart condition, any condition, but in this case a heart condition of some sort, and there are recommendations of things that you should be doing and you're not doing those things, the insurance company can say that no, we're not going to pay you long-term disability or short-term disability, whatever it is, because you're in breach of the provisions of the policy, which means that you have to undergo and consistently do treatments which are prescribed to you by your doctors. Now, some people will say, look, I've taken this medication or I've done this or I've done that and it makes me feel worse. Well, okay, then talk to your doctors about alternatives. You can't just put your hands up and say, I'm not going to do it. So yes, point number two, important, consistent treatment. You have to demonstrate that you are doing everything you can, that you're following the doctor's advice in terms of the treatments that are prescribed to you.
We're talking about LTD and guide to heart conditions when it comes to LTD. This third point and our final one for the topic, we use this term contemporaneous records all the time, and that is it. It's vital to keep a record of all tests and referrals to specialists as well. Insurance companies often deny these heart conditions due to insufficient documentation. How often do you hear that, right?
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time. Insufficient documentation. The documents you've provided do not support the claim for disability, for long-term disability, short-term disability. Look, if your doctors are saying on paper that you cannot work because of your condition, because of your symptoms, that should be enough for the insurance company. The insurance company will often come back and say, we need clarification, we need more information. Sometimes they go overboard, sometimes they're correct, right? I mean, they do need the information and documentation to be able to make a proper decision and assessment about your claim. But the reality is that you have a part in it. You have to be in communication with your doctors. You must keep up appointments. You must go and speak with your doctors and make sure you're on the same page about the fact that you need to be off work for a certain period of time to get better. The more you have that, the more your doctors are seeing that you're trying to do your best, the more the doctors provide these records or reports or whatever it is that you require in order to show the insurance company that you're disabled, the higher the chances that the insurance company will approve your claim. And if they deny your claim, again, you can give us a call. And frankly, I tell people, call me before you get denied. If you're applying for long-term disability, we got people on staff that can help you and guide you. You can go to our website. It's got tons of resources. How do you maximize the possibility of you getting disability payments, short and long-term disability? But again, very important that you make sure that you provide the information that the insurance company requires. If you don't, the insurance company will come back and deny your claim on the basis of insufficient documentation. But again, sometimes when they do deny you on that basis, it's a faulty denial. Sometimes you've provided everything they've asked for and they still deny you. That's when we get involved. That's when we push back.
There are many ways, in fact, several ways you can reach out to Sivan and his team anonymously. Another way is mydisabilityquestions.com, mydisabilityquestions.com. That's where we're going to go after the break for one of your questions. We appreciate that ahead of time. And in the meantime, free consultations and to reach out and talk to Sivan and his team, that phone call, 1-855-821-5900 and help at disabilityrights.ca. Coming back, lots more. The Disability Law Show is just ahead.
People think you should go to the government to get severance pay. EmploymentLawyer.ca says that is a myth. Government can only help you get minimum severance, but not everything you're entitled to. Always check with the employment lawyer first at EmploymentLawyer.ca. If your long-term disability claim is denied, should you appeal?
Appeals often fail because insurance companies control the process. So long as you appeal, you're playing by their rules.
You should never appeal the denial of your disability benefits. Appeals are just a mirage of false hope.
Don't. That's their process. Take it out of their hands and fight for your rights with our help.
Go to disabilityrights.ca. Discover your rights, fight back, and get what you're owed. People think their employer can make changes to their job. EmploymentLawyer.ca says that is a myth. Your employer can't change your pay, hours, or duties. You may be entitled to full severance pay. Always check with the employment lawyer first at EmploymentLawyer.ca.
Okay, welcome back. A few minutes to go here on the Disability Law Show. We'll get to one of your questions. Again, the website I mentioned before the break, mydisabilityquestions.com, free and anonymous, so feel free to use that anytime. Or call Sivan and his team. Consultations are free, right? 1-855-821-5900. Here we go, Sivan. Fred this time says, I've been on LTD for 2 years due to mental health issues. Recently, a new case manager insisted I attend a clinic for a treatment plan despite my therapist's concerns. Reviews of the clinic suggest they push patients back to work prematurely. When I shared my worries, the case manager dismissed them and threatened to cut my benefits if I didn't comply. Wow.
Classic case, John. Classic case. So let's break this down. Number one, first thing jumps at me. I've been on LTD for 2 years. 2 years. Remember that magic timeline, right? That's when insurance companies try to get you off long-term disability. That's when the test for disability changes from your own occupation to any occupation. You cannot work in any occupation. So that's really when we see a lot of this activity from insurance companies. Number two, he says new case manager. New case manager. I see that a lot too. Well, when you have a change of case managers, for whatever reason, there's a lot of turnover in insurance companies, and suddenly you have somebody with a new quota, you know, that you had that they're trying to get to, and they're trying to figure out which claims they can cut, which people they can get off disability, so the insurance company can be proud of them and give them a bonus. Yeah, exactly, exactly. Another thing here that jumps at me: the new case manager insists he attends a clinic for a treatment plan. We talked about that at the beginning of the show, right, with my friend. When the insurance company tells you, we want you to go to one of the clinics or the clinic that we're telling you to go to, it's your choice if you want to go there. Most of the time, when I look at these policies, there's nothing that mandates you to go and get treatments from the clinic or the doctors or the specialists that the insurance company is telling you to go to. Typically, those policies simply say that you must get reasonable treatments. You must undergo reasonable treatments, comply with reasonable treatments. It's your choice if to go to one of those clinics that the insurance company is sending you to. But the reality is, just like this person here, Fred, many of these clinics work with insurance companies. So they'll give you treatments, but then they'll report back to the insurance company, unfortunately, in many cases, prematurely, that you are ready to go back to work. Or the treatments have worked to such a point where you're now no longer eligible for long-term disability. Again, these clinics are getting this work from insurance companies because they are, scratching each other's backs. The insurance company sends people to these clinics, and at the same time, these clinics do whatever they need to do in order to make sure that the insurance company is happy, which means give the backing to the insurance company to tell people, guess what, the insurance company, the clinic and these providers don't think you're disabled anymore, you're going to go back to work. So again, Fred is saying here, when I shared my worries, the case manager dismissed them and threatened to cut my benefits if I didn't comply. Sorry, but that's not right. Not right, unfair, and frankly, actionable. For the insurance company to bully you to go to the clinic that they're telling you to go to when they have no right to force you and threaten to cut off your benefits, your financial lifeline, that invites admonition, that invites punitive damages against the insurance company. This is one of those situations, John, where I would tell you, if you're told something like that, if you're being threatened by your case manager, right after you get off the phone, you write an email to the case manager, word per word, saying, this is what you told me. You told me that you're going to cut off my benefits if I don't comply. This is bullying, this is harassment, this is something that down the road we're going to use to go after the insurance company for a lot more money than you're owed. And John, courts, judges, they do not look fondly on this kind of behavior. They understand that there is a power imbalance between insurance companies and individuals. And what I'm telling people is that you must make sure you protect your rights. And this is why it's good that Fred posted this question, but it's even better if Fred would have called me, because then I would have been able to actually walk him through everything, alleviate his concerns, and answer any questions that he had, again, for absolutely free. So for anyone out there, if you're out there, you have these worries, these issues, any issues with your disability claim, or if you know someone, a family member, a friend, a colleague, please tell them to call us. It doesn't cost anything to speak with us. Arm yourself with this information. Don't let the insurance company take advantage. Don't let the insurance company bully you. We can help you fight back. We will fight them on your behalf, but you have to reach out so that we can help you.
Really aggressive behavior, though. I mean, one of the things that would help solve this problem, and I'm not sure if our viewers know this, but once you get involved, once they make that phone call and you take over the case, I mean, it's radio silence from the insurance company for Fred. He can alleviate some of his stress anyway, right?
If we represent an individual vis-a-vis the insurance company can no longer deal with that individual directly. You will not get any phone calls or letters or emails. They have to go through us. We are now that wall. But we're not just a wall between the insurance company and you. We push back on the insurance company. So that feeling that you got from the adjuster, that's what we apply on the insurance company, on that adjuster. We push back very, very hard against them to protect you, to make sure you have the space you need to get better. And John, oftentimes when I speak with people, that's all they hear. They don't even hear about the money I can get them from the insurance company. It's about the fact that they don't have to deal with these adjusters anymore. And that's one of the benefits, obviously, but that's not all. Right? Yeah. I mean, our job is to get you the money you're owed and to make sure that you have the space that you need to get better and to get healthy.
We got to leave in a minute, but it just seems this is very common when it comes to mental health issues.
Yeah.
It's that no X-ray, no MRI thing again, right?
Yeah, it is common, right? This invisible type of injuries or illnesses, but the reality is that it's very prevalent. And courts have recognized that people who suffer from mental issues, disabilities, whatever the issue is, illnesses, those are legitimate and sometimes even more debilitating than physical claims.
Yeah. So. We are just about done for a show. Thank you so much for all your emails, mydisabilityquestions.com, and the follow-up phone calls as well. And I'll give you a chance to reach out to Sivan now. Again, the consultations are absolutely free, so take full advantage. Just have a chat if that's all you need. 1-855-821-5900. help@disabilityrights.ca is the email. Then that mydisabilityquestions.com.ca is what you want to use as well. Thank you so much for contributing to the show and paying attention for the last 30. We'll catch you again on the next episode.